But here's where it all comes together, man. Here, check this out. This is Mediaite. Gun sales surge up to 145% in June, smashing all-time record. You got a lot of people who don't know how to use guns who got guns now.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
It's a good point.
Look at that couple in St. Louis.
Yes.
It's like, listen, man. I've been to a range twice, and I've taken one training course with the New Jersey Police Department a long time ago as part of a story I was working on, and they walked me up through all these different handguns, and I would not ever claim that I could properly, so I'm still looking to like what we got to do to make sure we're trained, and we're going to be, going to the range and setting all these things up. But you got a lot of people who are going to buy it and be like, point and shoot, huh?
Yep.
No.
Someone's going to be scared from all these stories. And it's going to be like
No, people are scared.
People are scared.
They already are. They're already seeing people getting pulled out of their cars, getting shot at for simply being in your car. You can get shot at. If you see a crowd, there's a chance they're going to just shoot you. I don't blame them for just plowing through people now. It's like, what do you expect? They're seeing people getting killed.
There's a handful of scenarios. One, a group of actual peaceful protesters are hippie dancing in the street, and a car just goes boom right through them.
Exactly.
And then when they get arrested, they cite Provo and they say, "We get it. Yep, in fear for their life because these people have done this." Or you get a group of these protesters marching through a neighborhood like we saw in St. Louis. Only this time, the lady who doesn't know how to use a gun, who's got her finger on the trigger and is waving it at people, panics and pop.
I'm surprised that didn't happen the other night.
Yeah, exactly.
I was really worried.
And that's when it goes crazy.
But that's the tension that everyone's feeling.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody feels it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I don't want to piss anyone off. I'm just trying to live my life.
Can we? You know, like when you're winding up, like what are those springs called? That it's like
Jack in the Box.
No, it's like
a clock. When
you wind the clock
tension.
And the spring is actually just a strip of metal that gets spun tighter and then it spins.
Oh yeah.
A torsion spring.
Is that what it's called?
Maybe,
it can't get any tighter because it's compressed completely. That's what it feels like. That's what I'm feeling. Like, what more could possibly happen to give anyone more anxiety?
I got this. Aliens.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
That would do it.
I think people might go, finally.
No, thank goodness.
Something. We can unify against
Something
that,
else,
right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know if they're good or bad.
But I think people snap.
That's what we're seeing, people snapping.
Yeah. People are scared.
Yep.
And I think we're at a point where the dominoes have all been set up.
Yep.
And then all it takes is one little flick.
That's true.
The dominoes go down, and one by one, a chain of events will happen that will start occurring that can't be stopped.
Yep.
And I think maybe we're already there. That's what we're feeling.
Well, you said it earlier. Yeah, the cascade's happening.
You know that little that meme where there's like a little tiny thing, and he taps it, and then knocks over a bigger tablet, and then a bigger tablet, and it scales up to a massive. You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen a meme, but I've seen the art thing.
It's like
that they do, and it's like a freaking 30-foot tall domino.
Yeah, you have like a really tiny one, and then it grows.
Mm-hmm.
There's a meme about it where it's like one tiny action results in one really, really crazy thing.
Like what was the most recent one? This dollar bill looks funny at that store in Minneapolis, and then the end result is like the entire.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Well, the other one is the bat soup. Tries the bat soup, and the entire world is falling
Take a
over.
taste. Yep. Yeah, the dollar bill thing.
Yep.
One counterfeit bill. One guy saw it. It's like butterfly effect, man.
Yeah.
This dude's like, this 20 don't look right, and he calls the cops, and now here we are. Everything's in chaos.
Dude.
But it seems to me like the dominoes had been stacked up for a long time.
Well, it's election year, so they really have to kick it up a notch.
This is different.
True too. This is
what did
wild.
what did Cernovich tweet? He says the first time in my life that the 4th of July has been canceled.
Yeah, it is pretty insane.
Yeah.
That scares me the most, because who's gonna say oh, okay, we won't celebrate the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll do nothing.
No,
it's literally a day where we tell the government to F off.
That's the
it's
whole
like
point.
The holiday is literally based upon the day when Americans were like F you to the monarch.
That's a good point.
And so now the government's saying nobody celebrate that day where you're telling the government to go shove off.
Unless you're Antifa going to the Gettysburg historical
to burn a flag,
cemetery.
for
Oh, I got it. Here we go.
Oh yeah, what you got it here?
Here's Andrew Cuomo.
This
no.
freaking guy.
New Yorkers must comply with social distancing
must
and wear
they?
masks. Don't risk your life. Don't risk someone else's life. Wear a mask.
And over 40% of the deaths in New York City were from people he shoved into nursing homes.
Seriously.
Thanks a lot, Cuomo.
Right.
Here's what I said. NYC occupation exempted, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Because the
or protesting.
Do I actually have that? Cops clash with NYC Occupy City Hall protesters after city council vote. And look at this. This is amazing. 3 people were taken into custody, 1 accused, yada, yada. After a heated standoff, cops backed down, allowing the occupation to continue.
Well, there you
After
go.
cops withdrew, protesters spent the better part of the morning cheering, clapping, and toasting their accomplishments with blue solo cups of champagne brought to the encampment after the NYPD budget was slashed. And then, I love it, Ocasio-Cortez. What did she say?
1 billion is not enough.
Yeah, 1 billion
is not enough.
When we say defund the police, we mean defund the police.
What does that mean, though? That
Shut
No money.
So abolish, you mean?
Yeah.
Shut 'em down.
You don't mean to defund. You mean abolish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Oh my gosh.
I think these
Not
people,
smart.
my personal opinion is the first thing they need to do is get rid of the police, because then the fight on the street becomes ideological, forcing people to choose sides. The biggest obstacle for the far left in their accelerationist plans is the police, who are neutral. They're government, they're establishment, but
Right.
they're not ideological. Now, they can try and argue the police are, and many of them are, but when it comes to pro-Trump, MAGA, Proud Boy, whatever, and Antifa, far left, progressive, the police are not a part of either of these tribes. They're standing in the way.
As a whole, no.
Which means
Right.
what's supposed to happen is when the 2 tribes clash, the police break it up, push everyone apart, make arrests. Not always. So how do you get it so that you can have your full-on war? The left needs to get rid of the police.
That's a good point.
And they're doing it. Once the police are abolished, demoralized, or gone, then you're going to see, like, weren't you telling me this the other day that a bunch of cops are joining militias and stuff?
Yep.
They're factionalizing, or
Yep.
whatever the word would be. They're joining. So then, once the police are gone, now the American people are torn between which side is the legitimate side, and it goes all the way to the top. Is it Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
And yet we have these the protests calling and asking for police escorts to keep them safe.
Yeah.
As they ask to while they protest defunding the
Yeah,
police.
please help
they're
us
clearly
to
cheating.
defend you. Yeah.
They're clearly not playing by any legitimate rule. They're
Yep.
just trying to manipulate. I think most of them are just dumb. I think most of them are just like, whatever.
Following whatever.
Yeah, so when
they
someone
think is cool.
opens a gate to private property, they walk in like, burp.
Yeah, we can be here. Burp, 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 burp.
Yep.
They have no idea.
Nope.
It's like I think about the conversations I have on Facebook with people, and it's really funny. You can make a vague statement, and then someone makes 1,000,001 assumptions about what they think you're talking about, and it's always some weird high-level political. It's like you could post something like, this is the joke about Twitter. It's like, man, I love pancakes. Why do you hate waffles?
Yep.
Like there's an assumption people make. They just want it to be the fight.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, man. On Facebook too. It's just like that's what it feels like. You can't say anything without. I mean, even on Twitter, it doesn't matter. Social media in general, you say anything, people just they take it and fit it into their narrative. Look at the bottom line of how they can be upset about the narrative that they've placed on it, and then scream at you for that. And it's like, well, you're the one who made it racist. You're the one who's applying your rules of all whatever. It's not necessarily racist. It's PC culture in general. You know, it's like you're the one who is twisting it into that.
I told you about Bugs Bunnying people, right?
Right.
So for those that missed the context, it's basically that famous episode of Looney Tunes where Daffy is like, it's rabbit season, and then Bugs is like, it's duck season, and they go back and forth, and then finally Bugs Bunny switches and says it's rabbit season. So then Daffy says duck season, and then Bugs says okay. Like basically making your opponent argue against their own position
Exactly.
by switching. I do this all the time on Facebook. I've actually gotten people to argue against Black Lives Matter because they always want to be fighting. And that's, to me, that proves they don't actually care about anything other than who's my enemy and who's on my side.
Yep.
Emotionally compromised.
But people are always fighting, even the left fighting themselves. It's the weirdest thing. Like I'll see someone, I'm not going to name these people, but there's some high profile intersectionalist, and they'll post something and then the responses are like, honey, you are so wrong on this one. This is a bad take, not a good look. And then they'll apologize and there's a back and forth like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. Because they're not on anyone's side. It's just, they just hate.
Yep.
They just want to feel like they have power over you. They're smart, you're wrong. And you can really easily manipulate that by saying things and then just making them argue against, you can make them argue for Trump. It's
Basically.
very strange. and I kid you not, these people clearly don't have a set of principles they're arguing for.
Or spine.
And I think, right, maybe that's the difference between the two tribes. Why it is that there are many liberals who switched and joined the Trump camp Democrat to Deplorable, Jack Murphy's book. I think it's like 9 million people who voted for Obama switched and voted for Trump, even some Bernie supporters. And I wonder if it's because these are people who only have principle. And so they will begrudgingly accept the problems of Donald Trump, accepting core issues that they think are important. Like the Democrats used to be in favor of immigration controls, border controls, helping the working class, the white working class, college, people with no college degrees.
Yep, not anymore.
But now all of a sudden they're the party of the internationalist corporation that wants to outsource.
China.
Like Bernie Sanders said in 2015 that open borders was a Koch brothers proposal. Now the DSA,
and he was against it at the time.
Right, now the DSA has openly endorsed open borders.
Yep.
And it's become a left-wing thing. So if you're someone who stands on principle, you're saying, I've always agreed that open borders is bad. I agree with Bernie. Well, now Bernie's abandoned you.
Right.
Bernie's now calling for decriminalizing border crossings and a moratorium on deportations. So you're like, okay, well, if I stand on my principles, the only person who's close to what I believe in is Trump. Mm-hmm. So you can talk about all the problems, but at least he checks some of the boxes. No, you have these people on the left who it's like they've now adopted positions that were once held by right-wing libertarian industrialists.
Yeah.
My private platform, they say. When all these social media companies are taking control of the commons, they used to fight for. They used to say the commons are spaces that must be held by the public, which includes the town square. Mm-hmm. Okay, well now the town square has been taken over by private corporations. Well, the private corporations have a right to do what they want. They can ban whoever they want. And it's okay. So if I'm going to stand on my principles, it's not with the Democrats. I've always been in favor of regulation.
Yep.
I love it when they're like, Republicans all of a sudden care about regulation, but they've always hated it. I'm like, yeah, sure, maybe. I don't like the Republican politicians at all.
Well, they like regulation now, so don't worry about that.
Well, I don't care. I don't care about. I think they're ineffective. I think they're doing nothing. But I've always held the position that major corporations run amok, and we need government to play referee a bit.
Yep.
But now there's no position for like where liberals used to be, unless you've abandoned your principles and just blindly follow this new religion of intersectionalism. And there we are, I guess.
Yep, there we are.
With a new occupation, and
it just
tribes
shifted to the other coast.
Yeah. Amazing. Wonderful.
Escape from LA. Well, escape from Seattle.
From Seattle to New York.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what happens on the 4th of July? Nothing.
Let's see.
I saw there was one article going around saying beware the 4th of July.
I saw some scary articles that people are saying like I've like went into this group to see what it was about, and this is what was being passed around, and it was basically Antifa saying we're gonna go kill white people, and like straight up take people out on July 4th.
That could be propaganda.
You're absolutely right. It could be propaganda, true, yeah. And man, exactly. I hope it's propaganda.
Like trying to scare people into thinking Antifa's going to go do something crazy.
Yeah, it's like are they just trying to scare people to not go out? Like don't go out July 4th because they might kill you, or is that just going to bring more people out because they're going to be like bring it on?
Fight.
Or
I'm
it's July 4th. Like we're going to celebrate.
You see what SPD reported as they were clearing the Chaz?
What?
Vehicles with no license plates driving around as they were clearing out the camp with weapons.
I saw that.
What the heck?
Mm-hmm. No license plate. They don't know who it was, but they knew they had weapons.
Yep. Seen armed, driving around in vehicles with no license plates.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary, man.
Antifa.
So, but, I guess the question I have is there are a lot of people who keep saying things like, calm down, it's not that bad, you're overreacting and stuff. And it's like, well, okay, fine, but like they literally just killed a bunch of people.
And you got to remember though, it's also these are all in cities that guns are not easy to get, or most people don't have guns.
Not legally.
Right, legally. Seattle, New York. It's like you can't own a gun in New York. You're not allowed to own a gun in New York.
You can.
But you have to jump through 100 loops. I think hoops to get there.
I think it's actually similar to New Jersey. Like, there's no open carry or concealed. Like, you can't walk around with a weapon.
Oh, okay.
It's
but
weird.
You can own one in your
home.
I
don't know the full rules. I know some things about New York are easier for purchasing, but they're very, very, very restrictive.
Right. Well, but what my point is like this is where we're seeing all this stuff happening. We're now they go out to a smaller place in Idaho, and it's like they made a mistake. Now today I'm seeing people were protesting in a smaller town, and 2,000 people came and surrounded the Black Lives Matter movement, yelling "All Lives Matter."
Yep.
And they were drowned out. The Black Lives Matter movement were just like they were the ones who were surrounded.
Completely
now.
surrounded.
But in Boise, where there was a big counter protest, the government sided with the left. In Philadelphia, the government sided with the left. In Columbus, Ohio, the government sides with the left. In Virginia, sides with the left.
Are these all Democrat places?
No.
No.
I mean, is Richmond run by Democrat? No, Virginia
I'm not
itself
sure.
is.
I'm not sure.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.